All right, welcome on in. Beautiful Sunday. Sound money clap. I want to get this started. Look, Ricardo Hamilton, Crypto Wick, M.I.M.S, making it make sense. When I saw this article, I said, man, I got to go live about this. And today I'm going to talk about the fallout of France out of the top 10 global economies. Obviously, I'm going to talk about war, and I'm going to talk about why you need physical gold and silver as well. Hope everybody's doing well out there. I want to get right into it and start with this article from RT. Okay. And the reason I want to put this out here because this is a trend. Okay. This is something that we are going to continue to see. And I don't know if people really know what's going on around the world, especially in Africa. Okay. We are seeing nations, okay, actually are moving away from Europe, okay? In Africa, they're no longer selling their minerals for cheap, being exploited, and France is losing big time, okay? A lot of countries in Africa now are no longer exporting their rare resources, okay, and minerals to be refined in Europe to sold back to them at a premium. And this is affecting Europe very bad. This is especially France. But what we see here is that France, okay, is now to fall out of the top 10 global economies, okay? And this is significant because it's not just France. I'm gonna show you some things. So just hold on, just wait a second, because I got some things I'm going to show you because I want you to be able to see where this is going. You see, it's as clear as day now where this whole economy is headed, where you should be positioned, how you should be positioned. It's just a matter of time. We are watching this play out. But understand something. The train has already went over the cliff. Okay? The economy, the system is already collapsing. The reset is already taking place. Now, some people can already see the bottom. They know what's going to happen when it hit the bottom and the explosion and the reset that take place. Some people I believe that we're flying, that there's nothing wrong. They have a normalcy bias. Oh, we've seen this before. We felt this before. But I'm telling you, this is something that is very, very different. And when I saw this article and obviously France falling out of the top 10 global economies, okay, I was like, that's the first domino. But I also want you to think about when you look at what France is doing, okay, you're going to see why they're doing some of the things that they're doing. And I'm going to show you right now, okay, we're seeing a lot of things that we're seeing around the world, especially when it comes to France, right? So let me pull up this next article here I want to show you guys. Let's go into the stance on war. See, when economies collapse, when economies start to collapse, they take you to war. So a lot of people are wondering, why are we spending all this money on war? Because the economies are collapsing. So when you look at Macron, and you see what's going on in Europe and them actually really trying to fight Russia, which they're losing, by the way. Okay, the Russians know this. BRICS knows this. They know that at the base of it, it comes down to the money in the economy and them losing control, right? And so what we're seeing is obviously this push to war. We got to go to war against Russia, right? And we already know that Russia has no intentions. Most people don't know. I don't know if you follow Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson already did a interview with Putin. He already broke it down. We're being sold some lies and some propaganda over here during the Western media, right? I want to show you one more thing because I just want to put this out here really quickly. It's a quick live stream. I want to put this out here really quickly. Let me pull up this image for you guys. Where's this image here? I want to pull up this image about the G7 nations, okay? Because what most people need to understand is that Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, these major countries, okay, they are they're growing. Their economies are growing, right? While the G7 nations are in a decline. And so this is a trend, okay? Yeah. This is a trend, right? And so you understand that this trend is going to continue where you're going to see the G7 nations, okay, continue to decline. And in that decline, you're going to see desperation, okay? You're going to see more chaos because they're losing control of the system, right? And so we have obviously BRICS, Brazil, Russia, India, China. These nations are contributing more to the world GDP than the industrialized G7 nations, okay? A lot of people know this. Some people might just be becoming aware of this, okay? But the BRICS countries comprise of Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and presently the largest developing economies, okay? Which, of course, a lot of other countries are coming on the BRICS as well. A lot of African nations and other nations. So it's actually bigger than just those countries, right? The G7 are the largest industrialized economies, and that consists of the US, UK, Germany, France, Japan, Italy, and Canada. Folks, all these countries right here, straight up crisis mode. I'm getting ready to show you something. I hope you've been hanging on for a second. I'm getting ready to show you something. I still ain't show you what I need to show you, okay? These countries are in crisis mode. France, we just showed they're about to get knocked out of top 10. Japan, currency crisis, okay? Italy, crisis. Canada, crisis. UK, crisis. US, crisis. Why is that? I'm getting ready to show it to you right now. Let me pull this up, okay? And I hope I'm showing this for you guys because I want to help make it make sense why you need to save your money in silver and gold, why it's so important that you hedge against financial crisis and inflation, why it's so important that you invest in blockchain and crypto, why it's so important that you create multiple streams of income, that you have some cash flow coming in these times, because it's going to get worse. In fact, before I even show the slide I wanted to show, let me pull this up really quickly here, okay? Banking collapse, okay? I know I'm a little all over the place, but I want you to be able to follow me, right? So the this recent bank here, the Republic First Bank, was seized by Pennsylvania regulators this past Friday. So for those who don't know, it has begun. We already knew that the banking collapse was going to continue in 2024. Okay, Jerome Powell already told us. We already know this. We know that there's a crisis in the banking sector, and it's not going to get better. It's going to get worse. We're going to see more banks collapse. This is a system that is essentially insolvent. Okay, they don't have the money. You know, most people don't even know about the bail-in laws that were passed. Most people don't understand that they don't keep a dollar of what you put in. They literally are, the fractional reserve requirements are at zero. You know, they're loaning out 100% of your money. And then you have a real estate crisis, okay, going on right now too. So here's some of the key facts about this bank collapsing. So I'm tying in what's going on with the economies, what's going on with the banking sector, why you need to be saving in silver and gold, why you need to be hedging against this financial crisis and inflation. So Republic First reported a decline in deposits, which, listen, if you following me, you know, I've been telling you guys, don't keep more in the bank than what you need to pay bills with, okay? The banks are not your friends. They're loaning out your money. They aren't giving you any interest on your money, okay? When you need your money, they don't have it, okay? You know, it's a major liability to have, you know, too much money in the bank. So, of course, people are pulling their money out the bank. So a decline in deposits, okay? And they also said, talking about the mortgage loan portfolio, which I hope most people understand that the market's, you know, is crashing, right? The housing market right now, a lot of this stuff is massively overvalued. You know, during COVID, they closed the whole economy down and they just printed trillions of dollars. I mean, the number in the data is mind blowing. I mean, they have printed, this government, you know, has added to the debt. They have printed more money in the last 4 years than they have since the inception of the country. I want you to really understand that they have printed. Imagine, in the last 4 years, they've created more money, okay, before the inception of this country, right? They printed more money in that time. And at this point right now, they're actually, the debt is increasing. The U.S. debt is increasing by $1 trillion every 100 days. Can you imagine? So every 100 days, add another trillion. Another 100 days, add another trillion. We're talking about debt. Totally unsustainable. In fact, Just to pay the interest on the debt is now about $1 trillion. The interest payment, not hitting the principal, just to cover the interest. And guess what we're doing? Instead of cutting back spending, we're sending more money for war. Okay, we're spending more. Okay, so folks, it's going to get real this summer. Okay, it's going to get real, especially in an election year too. Oh my gosh, I'm telling people, y'all better be prepared. Mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, financially, you better get prepared. Okay. The company said that, in talking about this bank still, that it will wind down and exit the mortgage business and instead focus on consumer deposits. Man, it's a lose-lose. That's a lose-lose. So I want to pull that up really quickly. I'm not going to read too much of that. We're going to see more of this, more banks collapsing, more crisis in the market. You can trust and believe that is a trend that's going to continue. But let me show you what I wanted to show you when I was referencing really quickly here why these G7 nations are in trouble. So when you go to the U.S. national debt, okay, we see the U.S. is at over 34 trillion. Okay, check it in 100 days and see where it's at, right? Debt per citizen, 103,000. Debt per taxpayer. Anybody got this money? Who got this money? No one got this money. They don't got it. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Okay, crisis mode. But let's go to the world debt clock. This is what I want to look at. Okay, this world debt clock. See, the numbers don't lie. They say men lie, women lie, but numbers don't, right? The numbers ain't gonna lie here. The most indebted nation in the world. Okay, let me see here. Yeah, there we go. The most indebted nation in the world is the U.S., over $34 trillion. In debt, we're only bringing in about 28 trillion. Okay, but when you look at other countries, here's China, right? Part of BRICS. They look much better than the United States. They're $14 trillion, okay, in debt, all right? But they're bringing in $17 trillion. They got a surplus. Ain't no deficit. They got a surplus, all right? So China's doing good. Japan, okay, is a whole nother story, right? When you're looking at Japan versus China and you're looking at Germany, okay? Whole nother story. Now, Germany is not as bad because Germany is the strongest, in the EU, right? But folks, that ain't gonna last too much longer. They're gonna feel it too. Look at the UK. They're right there at right there on the line, right? They're breaking even almost. And then when you look at the public debt at 108% public debt and almost 300% external debt. So what the world is flooded in debt. This is why you want to have real money. You don't want to hold on to paper money. Paper money gonna collapse with it. You need to hold on to this right here. You need to make sure you get you some real silver and some gold. Okay, physical silver and gold. So let's see here. I mean, this is crazy. So $13 trillion in debt. I tell you, Japan is just crazy. Japan looks horrible. That's why their currency is crashing now. You're talking about $13 trillion in debt and you're only bringing in $4 trillion? Come on now. The math ain't mathing. That's unsustainable. So you got a $13 trillion debt and you're bringing in $4 trillion, but you owe $300 trillion in public debt and you got over 300 trillion, 300%. Almost 300%, 298% public debt to GDP. External debt, over 100% to GDP. So remember I talked about these G7 nations? Okay. Now, here we go to France. What do we say about France? We just put up the article. Here's France. 3.6 trillion in debt. France, right? They're only bringing in 2.8 trillion. Crisis. And now they don't have control over Africa like they used to. They're not raping and exploiting Africa as much as they used to, right? Places like Niger kicking their asses up out of there. We ain't no longer giving you our gold and uranium and our resources for the low. That's just over with. right? Everywhere there's war, there's war. On a Bob Marley tip, 127% public debt, external debt, almost 300% for France. The numbers don't lie. This is the trend. This is debt. How do you hedge against this? Having real assets, okay? Physical silver and gold, getting the blockchain and crypto. Here's Italy. Italy, the same thing. Didn't I pull that up about the G7 nations? Here's 3.5 in debt, $3.5 trillion in debt, and they're bringing in 2 trillion. They got over 171% debt to GDP, external debt 143%, totally unsustainable. Okay. Here's Brazil. Okay. 2 trillion in debt. They're kind of breaking even, right? Here's Canada. Canada, once again, I told you Canada's in trouble. 2.2 trillion in debt. They're bringing in 1.7 trillion, 128 trillion, 128% debt to GDP, right? 129% external debt, right? So these are the numbers. These numbers will tell the picture. They will tell the story. When you really break down and analyze the numbers, then you can see why they tax the way they tax, or why they want to go to war, or why these things are being done. When you see politicians doing certain things, when you're seeing certain things done, you start to understand why. So let's look at here, Greece. Same thing. Debt, 500 million in debt. They only bring in 231 million. Look at the external debt and public debt and external debt. Totally unsustainable. It's a debt crisis. So that's why you saw during the last financial crisis, you saw what? It's austerity measures. They put in austerity measures, is what they call them, or capital controls is what we call them, right? And what that mean is that you ain't gonna get your money out the bank. Okay, that's why I tell you better not keep your money in that bank, because they're gonna put it to where you can only pull out a certain amount, or they're gonna go to some UBI system. Folks, they're getting ready to roll something out. It's at a breaking point. You see, we're really on the final hours of this. We're down to the seconds, okay, of this reset. People don't realize overnight, the world can just change overnight. You will wake up and that's it. You think you got time. I'm telling you, you're gonna wake up and that's it. It's gonna be like night and day, night and day. What do you say? Like a thief in the night. Okay, it's gonna come and hit you. That's why I say I'd rather be 1 year or even 2 years too early than 1 day too late. Okay. Once that ship sails, once that plane take off, that's it. Okay. I was in the airport one time when they closed that door. They was not opening it back up for me. Okay. That was it. So don't be that person. You don't want to be in that position. You need to be prepared now. Okay. This is real life. Okay. Real life. So we can see some other countries. Look, if you want to figure out where to go, look at the countries with low debt, high GDP. Okay. Them the places that's going to have less problems when shit hits the fan. Okay. Low debt, high GDP. So yeah, I wanted to, we can obviously look and talk about a lot of these different countries, but let's look at Russia. Obviously, Russia's a hot topic. Oh, Russia is economies. Listen to this BS they be telling y'all, man. Oh, Russia's economy is collapsing. We've got sanctions on Russia. Russia. Well, Russia doing pretty damn good, look like to me. Based on the numbers, look at the debt. They ain't got no debt. You might as well say Russia. I'm telling you, when the shit hits the fan and this debt-based fiat system collapses, these are the countries that are going to be first world. Okay? These will be first world countries. The G7 nations will be second world, third world countries. I'm just telling you right now, you better start projecting 20, 30, 50, 100 years from now. You're going to see this. This is what the numbers are telling you. Russia only $424 million in debt, and they bringing in over 2 trillion. Good for Russia. Okay. Another thing you want to think about is that these other countries, BRICS and everything else, what are they doing? They're getting back to gold. What are they doing? getting back to silver. This is what's backing the value of their currencies. You see, or the monetary system, whether it's on blockchain, XRP, whatever, you need to have a position in these assets. Physical silver, especially gold, XRP, blockchain, crypto. Okay, you need to have a position. You have to. Okay. Saudi Arabia, of course. Spain. We talk about Spain, G7 nations. Look at Spain. Crisis, 1.9, right? Only bringing in 1.4. Look at the debt, over 100%, excuse me, in both external and public debt, right? What else we got? Especially when we back. You see what happens when you start to make things make sense and you start putting pieces together, you know what I'm saying, and helping people see what's coming. They start messing with your internet, your lives going down and stuff like that. So anyway, I don't know at what point y'all lost, but the whole point to gather essentially is that you have the world consumed in debt, and not necessarily the world. A lot of the G7 nations consumed in debt. It's weighing heavily on their economies. And we're seeing that their solution is to print more money, okay? Just like in the United States. And I believe the IMF and other banks also said that they're going to print more money or lower rates. I think they're actually going to do the opposite of what the U.S. is doing right now. And so that's why it's so important that you see the trend and you get ahead of it. It's important that you get ahead of the trend. You don't want to wait till you wake up and then all this is going on and then you're trying to figure out, well, what should I do? Well, what does that mean? Who's going to come save me? No, the information has been out here. We now know and we now have access, the ability to get these assets, to get physical silver, to get gold, buy XRP, get in the blockchain, buy Bitcoin, like just diversify, get assets, get commodities, get resources, exchange the paper for something of value that can help sustain your life, that can put you in a better position financially in the future, right? Because we're going to continue to see banks collapse, okay? We're going to continue to see global crisis, right? And of course, war, because these G7 nations, you see their strategy. The strategy to take over or whatever is to go to war. So G7, US, Canada, I just showed you the list, right? France, their solution is we're going to print more money and we're going to go to war. Okay? Why? Because they're in debt and their economies is collapsing. While the other nations, BRICS, you saw how Russia was doing. You see how other countries are doing. They're not in this heavy amount of debt. Their economy is actually doing well. They're back, they're getting more assets, right? So you need to be doing what they're doing. You need to be getting more silver. You need to be getting more gold. You need to be getting more crypto. So reach out to me or maybe whoever even showed this video to you. They might be in position to help you do that. But this is the time. So I wanted to share that with y'all today. Let me see. Is there one more thing that I wanted to pull up? I talked about the banking crisis a little bit. We talked about, obviously, France no longer being a part of the top 10 economies. Talked about BRICS, silver. Yeah, that's good. I'm definitely gonna watch this and monitor this stuff and share, what I know and what I see as it comes across. But I hope that you guys are constantly, continuously, consistently building wealth in precious metal assets and crypto. Okay. And if you didn't come from a wealthy family, this is the opportunity to make sure that a wealthy family comes from you. Crypto Rick, M.I.M.S, making it make sense. I'm gonna catch you on the next live stream. I'm out. Peace.